Franklin Road is, I think, a little bit more than a family because we're so diverse.
It's odd because I don't live on Franklin Road, but I claim it more than I claim any other place that I've ever lived.
You can call your neighbor can pick up your child from school if you can't get there, and not all communities are that lucky.
The culture here is really inclusive and really involved, more so than any place I've ever lived at.
Franklin Road community is a community that cares. We've got some great things that are going on here. You have an active community organization.
When I started the police department 30 years ago, this is where I first lived.
Since I've been here on Franklin Road for more than 10 years, I have seen this area just grow.
The culture of Franklin Road community is very diverse.
There are different groups of people that stay here, and that's one thing that makes this a melting pot. We have different nationalities that are here, we have different races that are here, and all of us together make a wonderful community.
A lot of camaraderie, a lot of touching base, a lot of walking, a lot of outdoors, and yet a lot of family sense too.
Yo soy original de Venezuela. Vivo en Estados Unidos desde hace 16 años y he trabajado en comunidades durante bastante tiempo.
I think it's so cool that we have different types of restaurants. There's African restaurants and Indian and Chinese and you name it. There's just so much diversity within the community.
Franklin Road has a lot of other cultures and races and religions all coming together.
Trabajar aquí me gusta mucho porque tengo la oportunidad de ayudar a las familias hispanas. Muchos no hablan, dominan el idioma inglés y pues yo tengo la oportunidad acá de poderlos asesorar, ayudarlos y colaborar en todo lo que pueda para que ellos consigan su nuevo hogar.
And it's just a happy place. When I lived here, I was always outside, so it's just happy.
When I first got on council, this was the place that you wanted to live. And over time, it changed where it did not have that same attractiveness.
When we first got here, Franklin Road wasn't the best as far as safety.
I heard about Franklin Road when I first came. There's a place to avoid, that you don't want to go nowhere near Franklin Road.
Well, the main stereotypes I've heard is that people are violent here, they don't care.
People getting killed on Franklin Road. People getting robbed on Franklin Road. Those are things that I heard.
Oh, I heard it was a very unsafe place. There are people who don't like me being here because they think I'm being risky.
You know, in the past, Franklin Road, we did have a lot of issues with crime.
Well, it's a community, so I feel like there's so many things going on that people don't know because they're not willing to come visit.
The first I heard was that this was a gang-related community, which is not true. And the second thing that I heard, that this was a poorly, densely populated community, and that's not true.
So often because people hear or have a perception of something, they avoid it because they may have heard something negative. I'm the type of person that I always want to see for myself.
For the little part that I've been involved, it's inspired me to want to do more and to actually believe in mainly our people again, that there's hope in our people.
We have a lot of children over here that are exceeding and doing wonderful in school. We have a lot of parents that work hard to support their families.
People have said about the crime, but I know talking with the police and being involved with them, crime has definitely went down on Franklin Road.
What I do feel very positive about, in the last year and a half, the crime rate has dropped, probably getting close to 40%.
Well, I was already a little spicy when I got here, so how has it shaped me?
Well, like I said, my relationship to Franklin Road hasn't been that long. I grew up in a different town, so I've really only known of Franklin Road for 2 years.
I'm originally from Mississippi, and God led me here.
My neighbor who used to live here on Franklin Road, she was the Franklin Road Community Association president.
I was first elected in 1980 to the Meredith City Council, and I've represented this area since that point in time.
You know, I had a successful career where I was making 6 figures a year for this major automotive company, and God put in my heart to walk away and to go and to be the hope for the people.
I lived in Cinnamon Ridge Apartments. I lived there for 2 years. I got married when I lived in that apartment, so I've got a lot of history here.
When my mother and I first moved to Georgia, we actually lived off of Delk Road, around the corner from here.
So this is the first time I've lived in a place where I don't really want to leave, and I'm like, oh, I like staying here.
And I remember feeling so safe. Never occurred to me that anything bad could happen. So, spring forward, years and years and years later, I was working with the Travelers Aid organization, and I sat on the steering committee for the Franklin Road Weed and Seed project before it got approved by the Department of Justice. And I remember driving down Franklin Road, praying, "Is this where you want me, Lord?" And he said, "Yes, this is where I want you." I interviewed for the job, and I got the job. That's what brought me to Franklin Road. And in my interview, I said to them, when I moved here, my mom and I went home to that apartment each day and I felt safe, everybody, everywhere should have that kind of feeling. And if the families on Franklin Road don't have that, I want to be one of the people that does something about it. And that's what brought me here.
And I sort of had this other vision that I wanted to be in a place where I could listen to people and become friends and see how I could participate, walk beside them, you might say.
It's been a process of working with the community. And we've had over time, a very active community association. It's kind of ebbed and flowed where it's been active and then not so active and back active again.
It's really the dialogue between, I think, the citizens out here and the city council.
Some of the ideas that I've been able to bring to the table didn't originate with me. They originated with residents. So we're looking for something to be done.
You know, everybody worked towards a compromise just simply by changing the name. You know, some people didn't want the name changed, some people did, so people came together and chose Franklin Gateway to kind of incorporate the old name plus the new name.
There's a lot of things going on this road that people don't know about. Franklin Road, everybody has a negative mindset, negative name outside, but on the inside, God is working.
I think all of that, those are enhancements. Those are things that's going to drive property value. Those are things that are going to paint Franklin Road in a positive light.
I think that if everyone stays involved and we keep getting people involved with what happens, it's going to be, more people are going to be included, and this move people are going to have control over versus it just happening. Because in a lot of places, most places, things just happen. People have no say in it, with no control, they find out later.
The future for Franklin Road looks bright. What we have right now coming is the soccer field, which will bring more people, some jobs, and it'll also increase our population over here, which is a good thing.
I'm just a little leery and hopeful that with all of this progress and all of this change, that it doesn't drive out the heart and soul of Franklin Road and the people that have been here and that have been working to get the image of Franklin Road to where it is and where it's going.
I would describe it as a community that is growing and that has a lot of work, but I believe I see a lot of magical things happening, and I see people that are starting to believe in themselves.
This community builds leaders that were always leaders. They just didn't know it, but it gives them that opportunity, that platform to stand up, have a voice, to take leadership, to embrace opportunity, to ask for what they want, to get done what they want to see happen.
Franklin Road community allowed me to experience leadership on a different level. I was a very quiet person, never wanted to be in the front, and it allowed me to explore different possibilities, not just as a parent, but as a community member.
And like there's Y.E.L.L.S, and so a lot of people don't know what Y.E.L.L.S is, what they do, and there's so much to offer here for everybody, so not just those that live on Franklin Road.
One reason I actually agreed to be part of Y.E.L.L.S is because I'm a Muslim and that I have my scarf on. So I thought maybe, being a part of something that helps Franklin Road, and something that would help little kids, that maybe people will stop the stereotypes.
Well, it's the place to be. There's Y.E.L.L.S here. There's a Community Action Cafe, for one thing, which is incredible to see in any city. A youth-led organization, operation, facility that's open to the public, that embraces community, is rare.
They should come visit Franklin Road community because we're cool and we do out-the-box things. Not just the parents are involved, our young adults are involved, and so are our small children. They'll get to meet new people. They'll also be able to challenge what they think that they know about Franklin Road people, and they'll be surprised at what they see.
It's really special having people who really care about what's happening, and having even like here being at Y.E.L.L.S, being a place that like, oh, you can go here and you can volunteer. You can help kids who live in this community. You can be involved in a community dinner, bringing people in. You can be involved with, oh, the mayor might come and visit. Like there's a lot of incredible things that are concentrated in one spot.
Now what I see is a partnership, really trying to make it a great place to grow and live. And that's where I see this really going, just continue to grow and thrive to a vibrant area.
I think that it isn't every community where you find kids like yourself that have this type of organization. I mean, I would have loved to have had something like this as a kid, to learn how to use cameras, to learn how to present myself in the way you all present yourself. I came to the town hall meeting you guys hosted with the mayor a couple weeks ago, and we were all extremely impressed. I mean, to be able to speak in front of a crowd of adults, you have no clue what their names are, where they work. I think that takes a lot of confidence, and I think a place like this helps you guys develop that.
And I'd also, before I address it, I'd like to thank y'all for the opportunity. You honor myself and the fellow two councilmen here, and the mayor, the staff, and our police force here for allowing us to join you tonight.
And so I love that this community has its own voice, and with that, anybody that comes into this community has to join the existing community. It's not that they get to come in and completely change things. And so I think that's going to be amazing to see what that looks like in the future.